We are counting down 30 of the wildest facts ever packed into a single mid-size sedan. From regal origins and the humble beginnings that turned the Camry into a rental car legend, to mind-bending horsepower builds and viral internet fame you would never expect from just a Camry, this list ramps up in absurdity as we go. Some entries will make lifelong gearheads do a double take, while others might have you questioning reality and maybe your last oil change. Ready to see just how deep the Camry rabbit hole goes? We kick things off at number 30 with a royal bit of name history that started it all. Back in the late 1970s in Japan, Toyota needed a new name for its family sedan, something with a little more gravitas than Corolla or Carina. They settled on Camry, lifted straight from the Japanese word kanmuri, which means crown. That is not just a flex, it is a tradition. Toyota has a whole royal family of cars, Crown, Corona, and now Camry, each one named after headwear you would find at a very formal party. The Camry story actually starts as the Celica Camry, a four-door mashup launched in 1979 that borrowed the sporty looks of the Celica and stretched the Carina platform. It did not take long for Camry to get its own spotlight. By 1982, Toyota rolled out the first front-wheel drive Camry as a standalone model, no more sharing the stage. So before it became the king of American driveways, the Camry was literally named for a crown, destined for sedan royalty from day one. Also, expect the facts to get progressively absurd as we move down the list. When the Camry landed on American soil in 1983, it did not just replace the outgoing Toyota Corona, it started a quiet takeover. In that first year alone, Toyota moved 52,651 Camrys out of showrooms and straight into the hands of drivers who wanted something practical, reliable, and just a little less flashy than the neighbor's Accord. But here is where things get legendary. Rental fleets and taxi companies pounced on the Camry like it was the last hot donut at a staff meeting. Suddenly, airports and cab stands were flooded with beige sedans, each one ready to rack up miles and questionable stains. The Camry's reputation for surviving rental abuse became so strong that some say it is the only car that can come back from a spring break road trip in better shape than the people who rented it. This was the beginning of the Camry's rental fleet, immortality, a running joke that is still alive and well today. Camry's rise from rental car staple to American icon was not just a fluke, it was a full-on sales landslide. From 2002 all the way through 2015, the Camry wore the crown as the top-selling passenger car in the United States. That is, 14 years of crushing the competition, year after year, while other sedans watched from the cheap seats. By the time most people had figured out how to pronounce kanmuri, more than 14 million Camrys had already rolled out to owners since 1983. That is more than the population of Greece, and probably more reliable too. If you have ever wondered why there is a Camry part for every occasion, or why your neighbor's driveway looks like a Toyota dealership, blame the sales charts. The Camry did not just win the popularity contest, it turned it into a dynasty, setting the stage for a sea of aftermarket mods and the kind of reliability that makes mechanics both grateful and a little bored. Ask any mechanic about the Camry and you'll probably get a sigh and a shrug because fixing them is almost never urgent. This sedan has spent decades at the top of J.D. Power's vehicle dependability study, stacking trophies like it's hoarding reliability points for the apocalypse. Owner surveys tell the same story. Camrys just don't break. They don't eat timing belts, they don't ask for surprise transmission rebuilds, and they rarely leave you stranded by the side of the road with a mysterious dashboard light. Annual repair costs hover so low, some people think the numbers are typos. If a Camry does end up in the shop, it's usually for an oil change, a set of tires, or because the owner forgot what a mechanic's waiting room looks like. This reputation isn't just marketing fluff, it's why so many Camrys rack up six-figure mileages with nothing but regular maintenance and a steady diet of cheap gas. Reliability isn't a myth, it's practically a Camry birthright. The late 1980s brought a plot twist few saw coming. The Camry went from fuel-sipping commuter to secret performance candidate, a true breakthrough. For the 1987 model year, Toyota fitted the 2VZ FEV6 engine, a 2.5-liter 24-valve marvel that turned the humble sedan into a sleeper for anyone who thought 4 cylinders were not enough. Suddenly, you could have 153 horsepower under your right foot. If you lived in the right part of the world, you could even order your Camry with all-track, all-wheel drive. That is right, the only generation to ever offer all-wheel drive, making it the unicorn of Camry lore. While most buyers stuck to the trusty four-banger, a few lucky souls got a sedan that could sneak up on a snowstorm and leave in a hurry. Generation 2. Camry did not just haul groceries, it quietly planted the seeds for a future where beige could mean bring it on. In 2007, Toyota decided the Camry needed a little more green in its DNA, so they dropped in a hybrid powertrain and quietly started a revolution. This was not just a science project for eco-nerds. The Camry Hybrid became the first mass-market sedan in America to offer hybrid technology without looking like a spaceship or a rolling science experiment. Suddenly, you could get 40 miles per gallon in the city according to the Environmental Protection Agency, all while sitting in a car that still looked like it belonged in your neighbor's driveway. The hybrid system borrowed tricks from the Prius, but with a grown-up twist, more space, more comfort, and just enough battery magic to make gas stations feel like a distant memory. For anyone who thought hybrids were only for the tofu crowd, the Camry Hybrid proved you could save the planet and still haul groceries in style. No Birkenstocks required. In the early 1990s, the Camry quietly pulled off the ultimate flex. It became the backbone for Toyota's new luxury experiment, the Lexus ES. Underneath the stitched leather and wood trim of the first ES250 and ES300, you will find the same XV10 Camry platform doing the heavy lifting. That's right. While the neighbors were busy arguing over badge prestige, the Lexus ES was rolling around on Camry bones, proving that dependable engineering and a smooth ride do not care about price tags. Lexus just added more sound deadening, a fancier dashboard, and a badge that made valet drivers actually look up from their phones. For Camry fans, this was the ultimate mic drop. Your sensible sedan was secretly moonlighting as a luxury car. Next time someone calls the Camry boring, just remind them it has a little Lexus DNA and a family tree that is not afraid to show off at the country club. In 1988, Toyota did something that would make any local proud. It started building Camrys right in Georgetown, Kentucky. This was not just a token assembly line. Toyota Motor Manufacturing Kentucky, called TMMK, became a full-blown Camry factory, pumping out sedans for American roads faster than you can say VIN starts with 4. Over the decades, the Kentucky plant turned out so many Camrys that by July 2021, it had cranked out its 10 millionth Camry built in the United States. That is enough to fill every parking lot at a college football game and still have leftovers for the drive home. If you ever spot a Camry with a VIN beginning with 4, you are looking at Kentucky craftsmanship, pure and simple. TMMK has grown into one of Toyota's biggest plants outside Japan, showing that the Camry is as much a domestic staple as apple pie, just with fewer crumbs in the seat cushions. By 1992, the Camry had officially outgrown its compact roots. The third generation rolled onto United States streets with a body that was longer, wider, and noticeably more comfortable than anything Toyota had shipped before. This was not just a little stretch job. Toyota gave the Camry almost 2 extra inches of width and a few more inches in length, all to make sure American drivers could enjoy real elbow room without bumping into their passengers. The cabin got thicker insulation too, so road noise became more of a rumor than a reality. Suddenly, you could hold a conversation at 70 miles per hour without yelling, or at least without yelling about the wind. The third-generation Camry was engineered for the United States' appetite for space and quieter cabins, setting it apart from its leaner Japanese siblings. If you ever wondered why the Camry feels like a rolling living room, thank the early 90s and Toyota's tape measure. Trim snobbery is alive and well in the Camry universe. Forget about horsepower for a second. True Camry fans know the real action happens in the badge wars, XLE, C, and the mighty TRD. The LE crowd swears by cloth seats and a ride so soft it could double as a waterbed. XLE owners will let you know, unprompted, that their heated leather seats and fake wood trim are basically luxury. Then there is the SE, born in the 1990s for folks who wanted a touch of sport but still needed to haul groceries without spilling the milk. The SE badge means stiffer suspension, a slightly angrier grille, and the right to scoff at base models. And finally, the TRD. Toyota's attempt to turn Dad's commuter into a track day hero. With red seatbelts, a rumbly exhaust, and enough spoilers to make a Fast and Furious extra blush, the TRD Camry is proof that even Beige can bite back. But do not try parking an LE next to a TRD at Cars and Coffee unless you are ready for a full-blown sedan showdown. In 2007, the Camry pulled off the ultimate rental car to race car transformation. Toyota Racing Development rolled out a Camry-bodied stock car for its official NASCAR Cup Series debut, making it the first Japanese brand ever to tackle America's biggest oval racing league. Forget Beige, this was all about Redline. Underneath that familiar four-door shape was a purpose-built racing monster, built to NASCAR's strict silhouette rules. The only thing it shared with your aunt's commuter was the badge on the grille. Drivers like Michael Waltrip and Dave Blaney strapped in for Toyota's first full Cup season, and suddenly, the same car known for surviving airport parking lots was lining up at Daytona, ready to hit 200 miles per hour. For Camry fans, it was a flex nobody saw coming. The sedan that once lived for rental returns now chased checkered flags, proving that even the king of practical can put on a helmet and get loud. In the late 1990s, Toyota decided the Camry needed a little more swagger, so they whipped up the Solara, a bold move to lure in drivers who thought four doors were just too many. The Solara arrived in 1998 as a coupe, and by 2000 you could even drop the top with a convertible version. Toyota's ads promised a Camry for people who wanted to feel the wind in their hair, and maybe, just maybe, be mistaken for someone fun at a stoplight. The Solara was a Camry trying on a leather jacket. Underneath, it was still pure Camry. Same rock-solid reliability, same sensible DNA, but with sleeker lines and a sunburn risk. The Solara never set sales charts on fire, but it did give the world a Camry that could cruise with the roof down and the radio up. After a decade of trying to make Beige look bold, Toyota quietly retired the Solara in 2008, leaving behind a legend for anyone who believes every sedan deserves a wild side. Camry fans in America might think they have seen it all, but the Japanese domestic market is a whole different universe. In Japan, Camry buyers could order wild options like a 2-liter turbocharged engine, a setup that never made it stateside no matter how many letters you wrote to your dealer. Some Japanese domestic market Camrys came with plush velour interiors, digital dashboards that looked like they belonged in a 90s arcade, and even four-wheel steering for drivers who wanted to parallel park like a show-off. Special editions like the ZX and Prominent offered features you would never spot in a US parking lot, including rear seat controls and wood grain so shiny it could blind oncoming traffic. While Americans were busy arguing LE versus XLE, Japanese buyers had their pick of trims that made the Camry feel more like a luxury lounge than a family sedan. It is proof that the Camry's global alter ego is anything but basic. And yes, the facts only get weirder from here. In 2009, the Camry found itself at the center of a storm no sedan ever wants to see. Reports of sudden unintended acceleration poured into the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, over 2,000 incidents across Toyota models, with more than 800 crashes and at least 26 deaths logged between 1999 and early 2010. Camrys, from the early 2000s, especially those with electronic throttles, drew hundreds of complaints, even in years not covered by recalls. The headlines were relentless, and the confusion was even worse. Was it floor mats, sticky pedals, or just drivers with heavy feet? Regulators could only pin down one crash to a confirmed vehicle defect, a trapped pedal. But public trust took a nosedive. In 2014, Toyota agreed to pay a record $1.2 billion in a criminal settlement, not for a single proven software flaw, but for misleading regulators and owners about the scope and speed of their fixes. The Camry's reputation took a hit, but the saga ended with new safety systems and a lesson in corporate honesty. And yes, this is fact number 17, and the facts only get more absurd from here. Some cars attract collectors, the Camry attracts artists, tinkerers, and anyone with a welding torch and questionable judgment. Scroll through any car forum or late-night social feed, and you will spot Camrys slammed to the pavement, wearing more negative camber than a shopping cart with a busted wheel. Lowrider. Camrys, complete with wire wheels and hydraulic lifts, have popped up from California to New Jersey, because why should Impalas have all the fun? Then there is the drift crowd. In Japan, Camrys have gone sideways at grassroots track days, rear tires screaming for mercy, while the front end still looks like it is headed to PTA night. Whether it is stance builds that scrape over a painted line, or do-it-yourself drift missiles patched together with zip ties and hope, the Camry has become a blank canvas for owner creativity. It is proof that even the king of sensible sedans can end up wearing gold spokes, neon underglow, or a sticker bomb that would make a tuner blush. And yes, the absurdity only ramps up from here. Edna Weber's 1999 Camry did not just rack up miles, it practically redefined what the phrase daily driver means. Bought used in 2002, Edna's sedan quietly rolled through the streets of Largo, Florida, until one day the odometer clicked past 500,000 miles. That is not a typo. 500,000. Local news even ran a segment, complete with an odometer close-up and Edna grinning beside her trusty ride. This was not a taxi or a rideshare workhorse, just a retired woman and her Camry, proving that with regular oil changes and a little Florida sunshine, these cars can outlast most family pets and a few marriages. The local Toyota dealer even checked it out and gave it the nod. It is the kind of longevity that makes you wonder if Camrys secretly run on hope and stubbornness instead of gasoline. If you think 500,000 miles is wild, try wrapping your head around this. A 2018 Toyota Camry hybrid taxi in Dubai has racked up over 853,000 kilometers, about 530,000 miles, according to a video that made the rounds on Instagram and Toyota Nation. That is like driving from New York to Los Angeles and back more than 90 times, all while picking up fares and dodging sandstorms. The driver claims it is still running its original engine and transmission, which, if true, means this hybrid has survived more abuse than a hotel room during spring break. Taxis in Dubai run almost non-stop, so this Camry basically lives at full throttle, air conditioning blasting, in a city where summer means 110 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade. No word on how many hybrid batteries it has chewed through, but the odometer shot alone is enough to make most cars start sweating. If you ever doubted the Camry hybrid's stamina, just ask a Dubai cabbie. A 2019 Toyota Camry hybrid popped up on Facebook Marketplace with a jaw-dropping 411,390 miles on the odometer and an asking price of $10,750. That's more than 100,000 miles a year, which means either this car moonlights as a cross-country courier or someone's been living in the fast lane, literally. The seller described it as well-maintained and problem-free, but the listing offered no VIN, no service records, and not a single hint of fleet or taxi use. Just a screenshot, a big number, and a lot of questions. Without a Carfax or a peek at the maintenance logs, this claim is all smoke and no dipstick. Still, it fits the Camry legend. If any car could rack up that kind of mileage in under 4 years and still ask 5 figures, it's probably a hybrid wearing a Toyota badge. But for now, this one is more urban myth than certified milestone. A 2014 Camry hybrid taxi racked up over 348,000 miles and still made headlines on the Cars That Last YouTube channel. The video does not just flash an odometer, it is a rolling maintenance diary. The host walks through everything the car survived, including endless stop-and-go traffic, city potholes, and the kind of brake jobs that keep mechanics in business. Under the hood, the hybrid system keeps humming along, while the interior tells its own story, faded seats but no warning lights. The presenter points out that even after all those miles, the battery and transmission are still original, at least according to the taxi operator. Sure, it is not the million-mile club, but for a hybrid taxi working full shifts 348,000 miles is enough to make most cars start writing their will. If you ever thought hybrids were fragile, this Camry just laughed and kept picking up fares. Open any Camry forum and you will stumble into the ancient debate timing belt or timing chain. Here's the reality, straight from the service manuals. Since the early 2000s, most Camrys switched their old-school rubber timing belts for metal timing chains. So, unless you are wrenching on a pre-2002 4-cylinder, you can stop sweating about pricey belt replacements every 90,000 miles. Chains are designed to last the life of the engine, or at least until the car has outlasted its third owner. Meanwhile, the real maintenance secret is not some arcane ritual, it is oil changes. Stick to the schedule, use the right viscosity, and your Camry's engine will keep ticking like a caffeinated metronome. Ignore the internet scare stories about catastrophic failures. If you are changing the oil and not ignoring dashboard lights, you will probably never even hear your timing chain. The only thing more persistent than a Camry's engine is the myth that you need to baby it. Some Camrys look like they belong in the grocery store parking lot, but under the hood they are hiding a secret life, one that starts with a YouTube search and ends with jaws on the floor at the drag strip. Stock-looking Camrys, complete with faded paint and missing hubcaps, have been caught running the quarter mile in the low 10-second range. There is footage of an XV30 sedan, beige of course, clocking a 10.2-second pass, while the crowd tries to process how a car that still smells like air freshener just outran a Corvette. These are not Pro Mod monsters, they are the ultimate sleepers, packing turbo V6 swaps, street tires, and just enough rust to keep the police guessing. It is a special kind of flex, showing up to race night in a car that screams, "I have 3 kids and a Costco card," then blasting down the strip faster than most muscle cars can dream. Camry owners call it the art of the sleeper, everyone else just calls it witchcraft. Some Camry builds don't just hide horsepower, they broadcast it from the rooftops, usually in the form of dyno screenshots that make physics teachers sweat. On forums like Toyota Nation, do-it-yourself mechanics have posted proof of Camrys making 700, 800, even 900 horsepower, thanks to turbocharged V6 swaps and the legendary 2JZ engine, straight from the Super's Hall of Fame. These are not pro shop unicorns, we are talking backyard projects with homemade intercooler piping, questionable wiring, and enough boost to power a small amusement park. Forum threads fill up with dyno charts and grainy cell phone videos, each one upping the ante, 700 wheel horsepower, daily driven, and 850 with the air conditioning still hooked up. It is a horsepower arms race where the only rule is pictures or it didn't happen. Forget sleeper status, these cars are full-on dyno day legends, and the insanity is just getting started. Forget everything you know about grocery getter Camrys because In the wild world of drag racing, there is a breed of Camry that is anything but beige. Enter the Pro Mod Camry, a carbon fiber shell shaped like your neighbor's sedan, hiding a 3,000 horsepower monster underneath. These are not street cars with bolt-ons. They are full-blown, purpose-built race machines running in NHRA Pro Import and Pro Mod classes. Teams like Lexus Racing and Rod Harvey Racing have pushed the limits with billet block 2JZ engines, triple-digit boost, and 110mm turbos that could probably inhale a small animal. On the dyno, Jose Gonzalez's Camry has cranked out nearly 3,000 horsepower at the wheels. At the track, these beasts have flirted with the 5-second barrier in the quarter mile, low fives at over 260 miles per hour. The only thing stock is the badge and maybe the sense of humor it takes to call this a Camry. And remember, the facts only get more absurd as we go. Jose Gonzalez's Camry is not just a sedan, it is a rolling science experiment with a death wish. Built by Lexus Racing, this Pro Mod Camry packs a billet 2JZ engine and a turbo so big it looks like it was stolen from a jetliner. The dyno readout? Try 2,975 horsepower at the wheels, and that is not a typo. This thing spits out more power than 3 Bugattis stacked end to end, and it is still shaped like a family car. The secret sauce is a 110mm precision turbo, nitro assist, and a Fuel-Tech engine control unit that probably has more processing power than your laptop. Forget about picking up groceries. This Camry is more likely to pick up a world record. Gonzalez's build is not just fast, it is a privateer flex that proves even the most sensible Toyota can go full mad scientist, and somewhere a mechanic just fainted. And yes, the facts only get more absurd as we go. Rod Harvey's Camry doesn't just play in the big leagues, it is the reason the league needed a new rulebook. Built by the Yuasa Batteries team out of New Zealand, this Pro Mod Camry is a billet block 2JZ powered rocket that has made a habit of embarrassing exotics and rewriting the records. At the strip, Harvey's Camry has clocked a 5.69 second quarter mile at a staggering 269 miles per hour, numbers that would make a Bugatti owner spill their espresso. The secret is about 3,000 horsepower, a turbo the size of a dinner plate, and a build philosophy that treats reliability like an afterthought. While most Camrys worry about tire rotations, this one is swapping out parachutes. Harvey's approach is all about pushing the envelope, using an intercooler, a drive-by-wire throttle, and custom Motec firmware to wrangle every last pony. It is a different kind of madness from the Gonzalez camp, but the goal is the same. Take the Camry badge and turn it into a punchline for anyone who thinks sedans cannot fly. Remember, these facts get more absurd as we go. Afif's Camry from gas racing did not bother with a slow build-up or a gentle shakedown. On its very first outings, it blasted into the low 5-second zone in the quarter mile. That is not just quick for a Camry, that is quick for anything with doors and a steering wheel. The shop's approach is simple: go big, go fast, and let the memes sort themselves out later. While most teams spend months dialing in a new Pro Mod, Afif's crew rolled out, turned up the boost, and promptly joined the 5-second club, making their Camry the third in a trio of drag monsters redefining what a family sedan can do. Footage of those maiden runs spread like wildfire, turning a fresh build into instant legend. With each pass, the internet's definition of Camry potential got just a little more unhinged, and gas racing would not have it any other way. Some Camrys go viral for horsepower, but others become internet legends for reasons nobody saw coming. In 2018, a clip exploded across TikTok and YouTube, featuring what fans now call the hover Camry. Picture this. A Camry rolls up, tries to flex on some questionable aftermarket suspension, and then, bam! The entire undercarriage collapses like a folding lawn chair. 1 second it's riding high, the next it's scraping asphalt, looking like it's auditioning for a Back to the Future reboot. The video racked up millions of views almost overnight, spawning a wave of memes about Camrys defying gravity or just giving up on physics altogether. Suspension fails, curb hopping, and hover jokes turn this sedan into a punchline for anyone who has ever thought about lowering their car at home. The Hover Camry became proof that, on the internet, even a failed driveway mod can make you more famous than a dyno sheet ever will. And yes, the absurdity only ramps up from here. Camry's greatest party trick isn't horsepower or lap times, it's showing up to the campground as a full-blown RV. Across the internet, Camry owners have turned their sedans into rolling cabins, complete with beds, curtains, and sometimes even kitchenettes crammed into the trunk. One owner documented an entire cross-country trip in a Camry-turned-camper, proving you don't need a Sprinter van to chase sunsets, just a little plywood and a sense of adventure. Meanwhile, art car enthusiasts have taken the Camry to new levels of absurdity at festivals. They weld on wings, paint wild murals, and strap on everything from disco balls to dinosaur tails. There are Camrys out there that look less like cars and more like mobile fever dreams. If you thought the Camry was only good for blending in, try spotting one with a chimney and a giant rubber duck glued to the roof. It's the Swiss Army knife of sedans, and apparently no one told it to stop. And yes, as the list continues, the examples only get more absurd, so buckle up. Some Camrys are born to commute, others are destined for internet infamy. Enter the world of Camry stunt legends, where the only rule is don't try this at home unless you want to be famous for the wrong reasons. There is video proof of Camrys hitting over 40 miles per hour in reverse. That's not a typo. One backyard daredevil floored it backwards down a straight with the camera rolling, and the speedometer climbed past 65 kilometers per hour before the neighbors even noticed. Then there is the infamous curb launch Camry, a sedan that went airborne after hitting a curb at full throttle. The clip racked up millions of views and at least as many jokes about Toyota's secret moon landing program. Between reverse drag races, curb jumping launches, and the occasional driveway disaster, the Camry has become the go-to vehicle for anyone convinced that physics is just a suggestion. If you ever wondered what happens when reliability meets reckless abandon, just search Camry stunt fail and prepare to question everything you know about sedans. And remember, these facts only get more absurd as the list goes on. Blink and you'll miss it, a Camry-shaped blur rockets down the quarter mile, but this is not your neighbor's daily driver. In the world of Pro Mod drag racing, the Camry badge has become the ultimate inside joke. Jose Gonzalez, the same guy who set the door slammer world record in a Camaro, unleashed a Camry-bodied pro-import monster built to chase the 5-second barrier. Under the skin is a billet block 2JZ engine, a 110mm turbo, and enough nitro to make a top fuel crew nervous. On the dyno, it spat out 2,975 horsepower, yes, nearly 3,000 at the wheels. At the strip, these Camry-bodied rockets have run as quick as 5.4 seconds at over 260 miles per hour, with time slips and videos to prove it. The only thing stock is the shape of the headlights. Somewhere, a Toyota engineer is laughing and crying at the same time. When the family sedan starts threatening supercars and shattering import records, you know the Camry legend has officially left the planet. Across all 30 facts, one pattern stands out. The Camry thrives by shattering its own stereotypes. From record-breaking sales to wild underground builds and cultural curveballs, it constantly reinvents what a mid-size sedan can be. That is why the Camry endures. It is ordinary until you look closer, then it is anything but. Which fact blew your mind? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more automotive deep dives.